Hi everyone, my name is Jatzik Long. We're here with Meg Graham, and one of the artists featured in Dawn of a New Decade, one of the 32 artists, and we're going to have an in-depth interview. How are you feeling today, Meg?
I'm pretty good, actually. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. We were talking before briefly, and I wanted to ask you a few questions, like such as, how has this, first of all, who are you as an artist? What are some of your favorite mediums?
I am a multiple media artist. I do photography, which is what's in the current show,
Hmm.
and then I'm a painter, and I'm a musician, and I draw. I do collage. Currently, I am working on a painting that's right behind me.
Hmm.
But for a time period, because of moving out to Staten Island, I did a lot of photography on the ferry, and so that for about 4 years, that was a main thing. But um, I really flip it. It really depends. And sometimes I do animation, so it's a full bag
Mm.
of what I
And
do.
very like multidisciplinary. What's some of your inspirations and influences?
Hmm. I would say, I mean, I have certain painters I like and artists.
Hmm.
Fred Tomaselli recently, who does kind of psychedelic stuff, um, was a big influence for me. He does collage work, and he actually puts like this, not shellac, but like the stuff they put on surfboards, and he makes these amazing collages. So my work has a lot to do with fragmented images, and it's been that way for probably the last 10 years. And I did do ayahuasca at one point, and that influenced my work. And now, like the photography that I have in the show, it's I take a photograph and then I collage it together digitally. And I've always, even when my regular, like the middle piece right there is like a collage painting, I've always fragmented images to create another image. And that was even before I did ayahuasca. So Fred Tomaselli, who else? A lot of like patterns, like African art, um, Celtic art. Has always been an influence. For a while, I was teaching mandala classes, which is just like a focused, uh, working in a circle, and you're drawing, and you're kind of meditating, and you're going within. So I have different things that I think inspire me, but there's always somebody else that comes along and you're like, wow, they're amazing. And they could be a performance artist, they could be a collage artist, they could just be doing animation. And I just think that if you follow your excitement doing artwork, you do the best, and you don't have to know what you're doing when you're doing it. So I'm not an expert on anything. I just go, wow, what happens when I do this? And it's scary. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. And that if you accept, like, you can allow yourself not to know what you're doing, you do some pretty good work. That's what I find. You don't have to stay in your box ever.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like really just influenced a lot by the process and allow like your process to come to you naturally and be inspired by
Yeah.
the things that not only capture your interest but captures your eye. That brings me to my next question. With all of these different influences and inspirations and talking about how you were doing mandalas and like fragmented work, how did that inspire and influence your fairy series that you have, like, because that's one of the pieces that you have in our show, no?
Yeah. The thing is, um, 2014, I got a new cell phone and I moved to Staten Island. One, I was commuting 4 hours daily. So that was a big part of my day. Then I had this new thing called the cell phone, and it takes amazing pictures. And then I was on Instagram, and there's an app called Layout.
Hmm.
Now, some people make little collages of their friends or whatever. I take an image, and I was collaging it with the app. So primarily those photographs are from using an app, and you can mix up the image so many different ways. Um, so that's how it started. doing but I was doing it anyway. I was taking a collage and multiplying an item on it. So I was doing before the app.
Yeah.
But the photographs, it was because of the Instagram app. I mean, I haven't used my old digital camera since I got this. You know, it just.
How's technology influence your process?
A lot, because even when I started doing animation back in 2006, 2007, I didn't know Photoshop, but I taught myself how to use it. And so it became another medium just to use. And like I said, you don't have to have all the skills. You just tweak something and go, wonder what happens when I do this. Wonder what happens when I do this. So if you're open to constantly just experiment, you learn all this stuff. So I don't know technology, but I just, like the other day I had to do an invite for the show for Collective Pause openings in October. And I really kind of like surprised myself how much I could figure out on Photoshop. Like just having design skills in me, and then, wow, if I fade this out and I put this and I make this blue and I put this, so you could, I kind of like amazed myself, like, wow, I figured that out. And it was really easy and I was in the flow. So I don't even know what the question was you asked me.
I would say
I went on a little tangent. I'm so sorry.
But I think that's
it's just like, oh, no. What's this thing do? I'll just try that for a while. And so definitely the apps on the phone made it really easy to do, like, and then I started doing GIFs and stuff. For a while I was taking the express bus, and I would take my favorite part was going on the Brooklyn River, East River on the bus, and all the bridges would flat by. And so I would like make GIFs of like the bridges like moving and stuff. So it's just wherever you go, there's another opportunity to make art. There's something else new in front of you. So
what are you currently working on at the moment? Like as far as like art wise?
Right now it's this piece right here, which is acrylic on this material that I apologize, I don't know the name of it. It's like this paper that has a coating on it. And that's the newest thing. Prior to that, I did a whole series of drawings during the quarantine on a 5x7 sketchbook. And then I did paintings on a 9x12. And those were acrylic. And then the sketches were with flare markers. And they're kind of mandala-ish, but not really. They're kind of like, I would call them life forms. So I was painting life forms. And for me, art's really healing, and I can feel better just by drawing, you know. And this time was pretty crappy. I mean, it's a pretty crazy world. Every time you would turn the television on, there was something else that day that would make you want to cry. So I used art as a therapy as well. It's just something I actually do, but I could have some lecture on that made me feel better spiritually, and I would just draw. So the quarantine, besides refocusing on myself and realizing certain things I need to let go as an individual, as a human being, and that helped a lot. And the drawing, you know, and then painting outside is nice, you know. If you
I was gonna ask, like, how exactly did the quarantine affect your work, and like what kind of themes were you exploring during this time, like subject matter wise?
I don't know if I had themes. I always just drawn. I let the art tell me what to do, and that's been pretty much all forever. If I let the art just be, like, I'll look at a place and I'll go, oh, there should be green over here. I think a line should be this way. It's like I'm a listener and I'm a channeler. That's what I do to make art. I'm not the boss. The art is. And so it was just very easy to do all these forms. It's comforting, and it felt good. And then I'd have music on. And then I did do one painting that was around the time they called the Lionsgate recently with all the astrology.
Oh, yeah.
That one, like, it's got so much color and so much twist and so much form. So that was the only one I was painting, and I went, I think this is Lionsgate, because this is like a lot happening here. So that was the only one that I had like a theme or a name, but like this piece, they had proposed like the show was about being in the quarantine at this time in the world, and as an artist, how are you feeling? What's going on with your art?
Is
And
that
so,
piece for a show
yeah,
currently?
it's for the show that's in October. The opening is on the 18th.
Can you tell us more about it? This show, like, is it gonna be virtual, physical?
It's going to be a physical show
Hmm.
on 60th Street between 9th and 10th Avenue on the side of a church. And I apologize, I don't know the church name, even though I've been there a million times. And they're going to have all these murals on this material on the fence.
Hmm.
And so the name of the show is Collective Pause, and it's about being an artist at this time, the fact that we've kind of had to totally reprocess the way we are in our lives. And this piece for me is called Collective Layers.
Hmm.
It's like you've been shattered, and there's sections, and there's still form, like you still are alive, you still like getting up every morning and having a cup of coffee or not, and you're trying to rebalance all the shatteredness.
Hmm.
Because life, what we knew, because I don't know how many times a day I go, wow, I remember that, and it was so easy then, you know. Not that I'm saying I'm in trouble, I'm having difficulty now. I have a lot of challenges being unemployed for a 9-to-5 gig, but I've been making more art. I have food in the fridge. I have people that love me. I love people. So I'm really blessed. So this is kind of like it's all the layers that are being reshifted. I was writing about the other day, and it's almost like, you know, when the earth has these layers of earth that move, like
Oh yeah.
on the planet,
Hmm.
because of the pressure or whatever. It's kind of like about that. It's like,
Like the top
okay, there's
plate.
all this going on, and it's really destructive in some ways, but then it's creating new forms.
Hmm.
So this work is about having to shift, having to keep balance, because it's really easy to tackle right now unless you just kind of focus. It's better now than it was like back in April, May, and June,
Hmm.
but it's about becoming you or me and balancing all that. So that's like all the layers and it's stuff, and there's all of the movement and a lot of energy, and I don't know what's going to be reformed,
Hmm.
but I'm being an author, and I'm writing a new page.
I got you. And like you talked about becoming you. So that brings me to my next question. When did you exactly start your journey and your artistic practice?
Well, I'm very fortunate. At 6, I was drawing a bear. I was in my parents' dining room and I was drawing with crayons, and I said, I'm an artist. So since I've been 6 years old, that was my gig.
Mm.
You know, that's who I am.
Yeah. So, what has your experience been like being a practicing artist on Staten Island? What have been like some of your favorite moments, or what, like, what is your, and like, just really, what's your experience been like all around?
When I moved to Staten Island, before I had moved and I knew I had to move, I started going to all these art openings, and I was showing my work already. And that was one of the reasons I like Staten Island, between its having nature and the green belt and everything. The fact there's a whole community of artists. And there's different neighborhoods. There's like Snug Harbor side, and then we have the Hub side, Hub 17. So I was really fortunate to be in shows, and then I joined a art group called Labyrinth, and they had shows, and then I met a whole bunch of people, and there was constantly something to go. You could go to the Hub, and then more recently I had been in a show at Art Lab, which is right near in Snug Harbor, which is an art lab. It's like an art school for kids and adults, and there's also an artist studio there. So it's like and I find being in Staten Island, my voice is heard. Where I was living in Manhattan, there were so many artists. There's so many people. And like in Staten Island, there's a lot of artists, but you feel like you're kind of known in some ways. I
Yeah.
felt, you know what I mean? like I met you at an art opening at Hub 17 one time. So, I was happy when you came on this morning and I went, I do I know him? I do know him. I'm following him on Instagram. So,
Yeah.
I'm really feel that it's a good place. It's a I mean, there's different styles of doing your stuff, but and some people are doing still lives and some people are doing like hip hop shows. So
Yeah.
there's a real diversity, and I really like the community, and I'm always meeting new people, and I like that part.
Yeah. And then there's like a good amount of variety, and like, it seems as though you've been able to like find your own like, your own pace and like a community as far as like your experience as an artist on Staten Island.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to like some people who are early in their artistic journey, or to like, whether it's somebody who's younger or somebody who's just like realizing that they've had this passion and just getting into it? What is like some advice you would give?
Well, get the pad and piece of paper out. Don't make an excuse why you can't do it. Go to museums. If you like an artist, look them up on the internet and see all their stuff. We are so blessed that now we can, I mean, right now I'm like going to a museum on the 26th to the Whitney to see a visionary artist. And I'm so excited I'm going to be able to go to a museum and see real art. I'm like, yay. So
Especially after all this time.
seeing art, the computer's great, but seeing a piece of artwork, like I remember I went to a show at the Met and it was a Van Gogh show. And Bill Murray, the comedian, was actually behind me.
Wow.
And it was interesting because there was his family. But I'm like drooling over this Van Gogh painting. And I'm like so depressed. I'm like, God, guy, it's amazing. Oh my, how can you like compare yourself to Van Gogh? And then he's like behind me, like chuckling or something. I don't know. It was like a scene in my head. I'm like, wow, this is an experience. Bill Murray and Van Gogh. So go to museums. If you like an artist, just check all their stuff out. And then go to things. I'm finding that I'm getting opportunities because I keep on showing up. Right now, I'm not in, except I'm in the show right now. This show, because still it's from April. I mean, when before the pandemic, and then
Pre-COVID.
a continuing show because forever I'll be there. But just keep on making your art and go on social media and post it. And yeah, sometimes you're gonna make crappy art. Okay, you just are. But then sometimes that crappy art became an amazing piece of artwork. I've had so many pieces that I made mistakes in the middle of art, and I just kind of pushed through it. So, and you don't have to know how to do it. You can be scared on how to approach a project, but don't let that limit you from doing the project. I mean, I did animation. I didn't know how to do animation at one point. I mean, I still can learn a lot more skills, but I never, at one point I hadn't done collage before and I just didn't know what I was doing, but I did it anyway. So you don't have to know what you're doing. Just keep on showing up. And the most important thing is listen to your spirit, because your spirit will tell you exactly what you're supposed to do next. Get out of your head and have fun.
Well, that's some really great sound advice. So, Meg, I think that we're coming to a close. And before we go, can you just tell the people where to find you, such as like your social media, website, and any things you would like to plug in before we go?
Great. You can, if you put Art Girls Reality, it's Art Girls with an S, Reality. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I have two Facebook pages. One is Art of Meg Graham, and the other one is Art Girls Reality. Like I said, show up, keep on putting your stuff out there, and have a good time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Meg. We appreciate you here at Staten Island Arts, and thank you for being part of Dawn of a New Decade. And we hope to see more of you and continue making your mark on the arts and culture sector.
Thank you.